Then I'm sending you another random picture just because I'm really excited about this dab rig that I have because it's super cool and it glows under black light. I sent them both to you, you can look. No?
No. It's probably his volume. Well, if he's deaf, I'm pretty sure you're not the problem.
Like I actually, if I play for long periods of time, I actually get like little indents in in my knuckles. Huh? That's my fucking dab rig, dude. If I were to sell it, dude, if I were to sell it right now, I could make $1,600.
Inferno Clash. Bravo team.
That's not even with the drop down that I have and the nail that I have on it.
Oh, it's random. Now it's Clash.
West, far west as you can get. Like as far west as you can get in the States. Fucking Cali. Yeah, I live, like you think California, you think beach people, shit like that, right? No, I'm not on the coast at all. I'm in Northern California. I actually live closer to the Nevada-California border. Do you know Tahoe? Like, you know of it though? Yeah, I live about 45 minutes west of Tahoe. So I'm a big skier and snowboarder.
Ah, I always wanted to do that.
Have you ever heard of the Woodward Company? The summer camps and shit they do? So they built one. So the year I started working at a ski resort around where I live, they built a Woodward at that same ski resort. And I used to be a snowboarder, and that's all I did. And I mean, I was good. Like, I was starting my 1080 progression, and I was about to start doing like inverted, like big spins. And like, basically, my next step was to start learning double corks, like in snowboarding progression. And then I was fucking around at the beginning of one season, and I was just fucking around doing like inverted 360s, and the jump was fairly small. And I just overcompensated. My wind up ended up landing straight on my shoulder, separating my shoulder, dislocating it, and fracturing my collarbone. So now I have Kevlar reinforced collarbone at my AC joint. And then I switched to skiing the first year. I started working up the hill. And because they wanted to pay me more to teach it. And then that first year, when I finally got a set of like real skis, because I was skiing on ski blades, if you know what those are. Yeah, yeah, and I was teaching on them for the longest time, and then I switched to like actual skis, and within that first season, I in the first 2 weeks was already learning 270s off of down rails on skis, and so that next season, my boss, because I worked with kids, she wanted me to transfer to Woodward and start doing their park skiing progressions for younger kids. And because they knew I was good at snowboarding too, they had me doing snowboarding and skiing in park progressions. So by the third season that I was up there, I was actually teaching 70-foot jumps to 12-year-olds. One of the kids I taught is actually now sponsored by Red Bull.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm an athlete, dude. That's what I do. I played every sport I could ever fucking play. I got into snowboarding because it was fun, and then I started skiing. And you know, when you're working at a ski resort, you're getting a lot of days to ride. Like, that advantage gives you so much more in your speed of your progression. You know what I mean? Like, I had never skied before that first season, and within 2 weeks of getting on big skis, I was hitting rails, hitting jumps, hitting everything. But that's also because I had edge control from the ski blades, and I had actually tried to ride park on them a couple times. And then, you know, just from my snowboard, like, just having that experience in edge control and on rails, jumps, and boxes, and like knowing what I'm doing on that, like, it really just transferred over really easy.
5 minutes remaining.
And I mean, not to, you know, discount any like tall snowboarder there is or whatever, but like being small on a snowboard is a big advantage when you're riding park. Exactly, and especially being on a snowboard. You know, when you're a bigger person on a snowboard, you have your 1 foot, your 2 feet are like completely, you know, on the board, and you can get a low center of gravity, but it's a lot harder being on a snowboard. And like tucking up on a snowboard for me was difficult because I was a bigger person. So like being on skis, it's so much easier to do flips. Like, oh my god. But yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, here's the thing. Let me explain something about skiing and snowboarding here, and I'm not discounting park snowboarders, because park snowboarding isn't easy by any means. You know what I mean? Like, the skill required is still pretty high.
Defeat is
But
imminent.
I feel like progression on rails, boxes, and jumps on snowboards is actually a lot easier, especially with spins. However, the basics of skiing, like learning how to ski, I feel is easier to do. But it's like, no, dude, skiing is easier to learn but harder to master. No, dude, snowboarding, like, dude, I mastered snowboarding within the first year. You know what I mean? And I'm still, like, I still don't know how to properly, you know, I don't know how to properly, like, with the, I don't know how to fucking explain it, like, according to, like, USAA, not USAA, the fucking, like, the ski corporation for, instructors, I can't remember what it was, because I was, about to get
Get 'em next time.
my my certifications to make more money and just for better lessons. And they were telling me that my turns weren't proper. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have proper ski form. No, they're talking more about like your parallel turns and shit like that. Like, my skiing wasn't proper, you know what I mean? And like, just this season I finally like figured out like what they meant by that with like, you know, pumping into your turns, getting more speed out of your turns, like more of a race kind of feel for it, you know what I mean? For skiing. And like I just kind of started to learn that, and like, but I'm still super good at park, but that's because I had the snowboard experience. You know what I mean? And like, mastering skiing to me isn't just riding down the hill and doing, you know, parallel turns really fast. Like skiing, like mastering skiing to me is like switch skiing, park skiing, jumps, off peak, you know, all that shit. So like mastering skiing, I feel like is a harder thing to do because park is a lot more difficult, and mainly because on a snowboard, like when you're doing your rail progressions and your jump progressions and shit, it's really not that hard. Like if you were to get on a rail on a snowboard, you can get straight on that rail, not have to worry about your edges at all, and just ride straight off of it. On skis, you have to be sideways on a rail, you know what I mean? Like you have two different edges that can catch. So there's a lot more to think about. I am. Yeah. See, I've always been I've skateboard, I longboard, I wakeboard, and I've tried surfing once, but didn't really work out for me. But you know what I mean? Like I was a good skater before I started snowboarding. Like there's a staircase gap. Yeah. Well, and there's a staircase gap actually around where I live. That's actually like it's supposed to be like really hard to do, I guess. It's a 5-stair that's extended. And it's not very tall. But like I used to be able to like tray flip down that, and my friends were like, "Dude, how the fuck do you do that?" I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Like I learned how to do a 360 flip and I tried it." You know? But it's like I was good at that before I started snowboarding. Then I started snowboarding, and within a year I was getting good at that. Like I only snowboarded for 4 years before I could throw a 900. Well, and there's natural talent too. There's definitely a natural talent aspect because like when I hopped on it, like it was almost natural for me within the first, you know, few times I did it. You know? Yeah. The one thing I want to learn how to do, one thing I really want to learn how to do on skis is moguls, just because I want to know how to do it, but I don't think my knee's strong enough. Because I actually tore my ACL skiing 2 seasons ago, 70-foot jump, and just misread the speed, and I landed super low. Ended up going, when I landed, I ended up landing straight to my back, stood back up after that, and then my ski didn't come off in time, and it just twisted my knee and popped my knee outward. And like right after that happened, dude, I fucking didn't want to believe it, so I stood straight up. My whole fucking right leg just collapsed, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I laid there, like crawled to my other ski, grabbed it, got everything out of the way, out of the jump landing, was sitting there for about 5 minutes, then got up and you know, put my ski on, rode down to the bottom of the hill. I told my friends, I'm like, dude, I just ate shit. Like they saw it, obviously, and then they're like, dude, you alright? Like, you need to like do something? Like I saw your knee, and I'm like, no, dude, don't worry about it. I'll be fine. Give me 30 minutes, and I'll be back out riding. Fucking sat down at the car, ate some food, smoked some bowls, fucking went back out skiing, hit the jumps again. Like my knee kind of felt like shit, so I was like, fuck, I should probably not do this again. So I hit it for like, I hit the jumps again for about 3 more runs, gave up on that, and just started hitting rails for the rest of the day. Found out 8 months later that I did actually have a torn ACL. Yeah, it's okay, dude. It's really not that bad. I have so many fucking injuries.
You neutralized Zone C.
I knocked my teeth out on my skis because I was learning how to spin, and the conditions weren't very good. So I landed off this jump, and my ski popped off. I went to stop with my other ski, like, you know how you lose a ski sometimes, you can just ski with one ski.
Zone B secure.
You know, but you know, you're hauling ass when you're coming off like a 70-foot fucking jump. So I went to stop with one ski, ended up sliding out,
Zone A
And,
neutralized.
my other ski ended up coming back at me and hit me straight